Now, this is a perfectly fine Art Deco waterfall dresser. We purchased it in this refinished condition, and it's about 80% there. But it needs something special. It needs something more. It needs Bakelite, the material of infinite uses.
Born in a chemist's test tube into the fourth kingdom of primary substances, resinoid plastics grew up and were made useful in these extensive research laboratories of the Bakelite Corporation. And here, too, they are multiplied and adapted to the future needs of every industry on Earth.
This jet necklace, madam, is Bakelite resinoid. We consider it equal, if not better than the natural mineral.
It's beautiful, and how light, and so smooth and warm to the touch.
Welcome back to Montford Boulevard. Follow along as we work on this waterfall Art Deco dresser while focusing on gorgeous vintage Bakelite handles. The finished dresser is for sale in our store. You can find the link in the description. We really had a pretty good head start on this dresser. You can see a few things like this minor sand through on the top drawer. Also evidence of nails on the second drawer. It turns out that was actually part of a divider system that somebody installed. It was sturdy and well built, so we decided to leave it. This is the only drawer that has dividers. You can see the trademark dovetail joints. They're in good condition, but could use just a little bit of cleanup work. But overall, this is a handsome dresser that could just use a few enhancements. You can see these glue drips we found inside a couple of the drawers. It shouldn't be too difficult to get that off of there. But it's definitely stuck on there. On the back, this is more of that writing that I've pointed out before. Again, I don't think this is sloppiness. I think it's just kind of to show that a human actually worked on this project. I was looking inside that drawer with the dividers and could see that the bottom is actually falling out of it. Popped out of the track there. From the underside you can see where the nail came out, so I'm going to pull that out of there. Pops back in there. But you can tell that that board was actually cut just a little bit short. Get that nail back in there. And now we're going to cut some reinforcement strips that'll be attached to the bottom of that drawer. Do the second cut on the bandsaw here. Just like that. That'll be enough to give the extra support that we need. Adding some wood glue here, which takes about an hour to dry, but you really want to let it cure overnight for maximum strength. Once that first panel is dry, we're going to add a second support just to make sure it stays in place there. And we're going to use the nail gun to affix it. And with that, this drawer should be even stronger than it originally was. Feels good. Here, we removed the existing handles, which we'll save of course. But we're going to look through our Bakelite handle collection to see what works. Bakelite was the first plastic to be made from synthetic components. and it exploded in commercial and industrial use in the early 1900s.
Its applications are infinite. Sports goods, musical instrument parts, and toys are well finished and cheaply produced, as well as highly technical scientific instruments and apparatus. Containers and bottle caps are now molded from Bakelite materials, as are many household requirements.
These are the two styles we decided on for this dresser. They aren't solid brass, they were plated, and you can see that it's kind of wearing off, so these will need to be painted, but that's okay. We are going to test the screw holes because if you start working with these handles and then it's jammed up inside, that can be a real problem. But fortunately, these are functioning just as they should. I'm going to clean off the Bakelite. This really is a resilient material, and it doesn't take much to get it back to its original look. Just using some window cleaner. And that's probably pretty close to what it looked like originally. Still attractive. Now we've added black to the top edge of the Bakelite, and we sprayed gold lacquer on the metal handles. Now, after sealing the gold in gloss clear, we're going to go back over with black. You've probably seen us do this procedure before. And then we remove the black using some French lacquer and a 100% cotton rag. Just gives a nice antique sort of a look. So we're pretty sure this is the actual material they're showing here that was used for Bakelite handles.
Transparent materials are produced from pure resinoid without the use of fillers. They are cast in lead molds and converted into consumer products by machining.
And here, bottom left, you can see the amber color that we're familiar with. Now we're going to fill the previous handle holes with some body filler. We're going to press it down until it starts to bubble up, and then we know it's all the way through the hole. We have a piece of tape on the underside to stop it, and that'll cause it to bubble up like that when you've gotten enough in there. There's the tape. And shave that off, and that'll be pretty easy to touch up. Removing those glue drips. They take a little bit of work, but it's very doable. Some of them needed a little bit of sanding afterwards. So we're looking at the top of this dresser and decided it could use a backsplash. This is a piece that we saved from something else that we worked on, and we're thinking this is going to work. Drew the lines on here, and we'll get that cut off. Now we put it back in place, and we're going to round the edges. We're going to look to mimic the sides of the dresser for the curve. Now we could use a compass for this, but oftentimes I can find a cap that'll work just fine for the radius. There it is, cut off with the bandsaw. And I'll use the sander to smoothen that and get the initial curve. And this really doesn't take much work at all. First I'm going to get the straight curve, and then I'm going to come back and bevel the edge. See, that's a pretty good start. But looking at this, we decided it's just a little bit too high. We measured a few times and decided 5/8 of an inch was what we were going to take off. And so here it is, just a little bit shorter now. And that feels better. Now I'm going to work on that bevel. And we're going to take all of the original finish off. This is solid wood, so we're not worried about the veneer or anything like that. And it is quality wood under here. Here we go, back to square one with that wood. And I'm adding a natural stain first of all, just to see how dark this is going to go. It actually looks kind of close to the drawers. But when you put it on top, you can see it's a little bit light for what we're going for. So I'm coming back in with a darker stain. I believe this was antique walnut. And that's starting to feel better. Now we're going to add some black to the top of the backsplash, including the beveled edge. Looking at the main body of this dresser now, and we decided it could use some accents. We want to do something with this fluted corner trim. We bought this a while ago. This is actual genuine inlay, and we think this piece would go pretty well at the bottom. I'm going to add some nutmeg stain to bring it to life a little bit. And here we go. I'm going to test that out. That looks like a pretty good match. Once that stain is dry, I'm going to spray some clear satin over top of it. That's looking much better. You can see the tones kind of match the drawer there. And we isolated just the center 3 sections of that fluted trim. Gonna make those gold, just straight gold, no black antiquing. Now seal that with clear. That is gloss. And we'll peel it off. Get a first look at this. You can see that's really kind of adding some character to the corner trim there. Yeah, that's feeling better already. Now we decided to get some of that natural wood back on the feet here. It's kind of some thick black that we had to sand off of this. There we go, looking pretty smooth. And we're going to add some of that same stain here. This was nutmeg, gel stain. So I sanded that area where the inlay wood is going to go. Add some wood glue, and sanding it will help it to grip much better. Just going to spread it out a little bit. And that's right about where we want it. Get some clamps and let that dry overnight. Taking a look at that upper trim now, and we are going to do that gold antiquing effect. When you add the black, you want to make sure you get enough down in the grooves, but not use too much because it does get tricky to remove it afterwards. And it does take a lot of French lacquer to get this off. I need to keep adding it to my rag. But that's about the look that we're going for. Make sure we don't take the gold off, that's important as well. Taking a look at that inlay at the bottom now, and that's looking about what we were hoping for. Gonna seal the feet with satin lacquer. We do have an exhaust fan built into the shop, which really helps when you're working with lacquer. But there we go, the feet are looking pretty good, but we decided we could use just a little bit more gold in this strip of trim above them. Got that masked off. And again, we're going to do pure gold here, not the antiquing effect. Now we're going to seal and protect that at the bottom, as well as the top. Because furniture and product finishes demand gloss, luster retention, and durability.
Furniture and product finishes demand gloss, luster retention, and durability.
Taking a look at the bottom of the dresser now. And we're going to call that good. Unmasking the upper trim as well, where we did the antiquing effect. This trim goes between two drawers, of course. Gonna pop off these metal glides on the bottom of the dresser, and instead we're gonna pre-drill and pound in some plastic glides, nylon glides, which will help it protect floors better. We are working on the top drawer here, masking for toner that we're going to spray. First, we're going to clean off that drawer with naphtha. This is a degreaser and just a thorough cleaner. So this is toner, it's lighter than paint, of course, just going to add a bit of a richer color here. And again, it's a checkerboard pattern that we're kind of going for on this upper drawer. We've also masked off the bottom three drawers here. We are experimenting with some patterns. Sort of a larger V effect, which we are going to echo in the center of the drawers. Here are those centers, and we're going to make these triangles solid black. Probably normally would have done this earlier, but we are going to clean up the sides of the dressers just so that beautiful dovetail looks cleaner. Now we decided to add one of those black triangles to the backsplash as well. It's just going to mirror what's happening with the drawers below. And we want to safely affix that backsplash, so we've made this panel here. We have stained it with nutmeg and we are adding screws. Here we go. Add a Montford Boulevard logo on the back. And we are ready to put the drawers back in and call this piece done. Fun to see how far we came. Again, this was a really solid start on this dresser, but we wanted to punch it up just a little bit with some accents. The gold really brings it to life, that inlay wood, but really it's the Bakelite that is kind of the icing on the cake here and the star of the show. Thank you so much for stopping by, for subscribing, and for interacting in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, here are a couple more you might like. You're welcome back here at Montford Boulevard anytime.